morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever you might be joining us. Welcome back to another episode of Telling Lives, brought to you by ESI for the Resilient Voices podcast in collaboration with Gibbs EDA. And today we are talking financial independence with the one and only and incredible Mo.
Yes.
Mo, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
I am fantastic, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mo Links, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so excited for us to talk all things financial independence and all things money.
Yes.
And I think some of our audience members tuning in are ready to hear about money. But before we get there, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, I'm doing fine, actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's been an interesting start of the year, but yeah, things are taking shape nicely, and business is growing, and yeah.
Business is growing. Let's get into that.
It is growing. It is growing.
You are in one of what I think the most challenging spaces for women to be involved in, and that's the space of tech, the space of IT.
Yes.
Perhaps before you get into the challenges of navigating that space as a woman, can you maybe just share with us your journey with your business, what your business does, and we can chat then about the back end of keeping that vision alive and keeping it as successful as you're saying it's going now.
Yeah. Okay. My journey in the tech space started many years ago. I think when I started being an entrepreneur, that was, I think, about 20 years back.
Sure.
Yes.
20 years?
Yes.
Surely you were like 8 years old at that point. We're not revealing age.
We're not going to go there. Now, when it started, my nephew, who I grew up thinking it's my younger brother, because my elder sister raised me when my mom went to nursing school. And all these years, I thought my sister is my mother.
Right.
And my nephew is my younger brother because of the age gap.
Got it.
Yeah. And he had just graduated in the tech space. And I was in corporate. I come from human capital. I was, doing my thing in the human capital space, and I lost my job, like most people did. And unfortunately for me, at that time, I was pregnant with my son.
Right.
And then my nephew said, "Okay, fine, let's do this. Let's start a company." And that's where my first exposure was in the tech space. And we were doing programming, we were doing hardware, we were doing corporate ID for government and so forth, which it went extremely well at that time, because I think at my age, we were the first young Sowetan people to have an office in Senton Drive.
You've made it then, haven't you?
Yes. We felt like we really made it. And then, unfortunately, life happened. And when, I don't know if, but you wouldn't know about this, there was a time where companies were hijacked, and our company was one of the company that was hijacked, and we lost the company. And over the years, I've always been this person who, when I get into calamity or I get heartbroken a lot, I don't want to go into that space again. And I decided, okay, fine, let me do other things. I'm not going back to the space. But then having to do a whole lot of projects in business, I was always taken back to tech. Always, for some reason, I was exposed to it. And then 2 years ago, I met a guy by the name of Richard Shogwa. He is the founder of the company that I work with. He is the brain behind the devices that we are currently involved in.
Right.
We are manufacturing. I say we because my company is serving as a project management company for NXI. The company name is NXI. And I do projects for them, but under my company. And it's been interesting for the past 2 years because I was given the responsibility to also penetrate the African market, be responsible of the SADC, which I've been doing successfully so. And it's growing, it's taking good shape in Namibia. It's annexed and Libongwe, the name of my company is Libongwe. It's taking good shape in Lesotho, Botswana, Swaziland, Zambia, and
keep going, the whole continent. Just name everything while you're at it.
Yeah, even in South Africa, as I'm seated here today, there's a big project that we signed today. Unfortunately, I had to miss it because I had to be here. But because I have a strong team, I got feedback that everything went well, and we're going to be manufacturing devices for one of the institutes.
Yes.
For now, I cannot mention which one.
Please don't.
And I'm looking forward to it. It's been difficult to penetrate, but also interesting to push.
Oh my goodness. Firstly, congratulations for the deal. We were told, guys, that she can't go into details about the deal, but I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, we will be able to hint a few things here and there. But thank you so much for sharing that with us, and more importantly, sharing with us kind of how your journey has been going. There's so much you touched on. But the big thing I really want to take on there is the expansion of your business and the vision, penetrating into what I would argue is one of the most difficult markets for people to see the long-term goals for, and that's the African market. We know that we've got, sorry guys, my political science cap is coming on a little bit, but we know that we've got financial agreements across the continent and regionally that would like to cultivate the type of penetration that you're talking about that your business has done. We have the Agenda 2063 that was formulated by the African Union, and part of that was the African Free Trade Agreement. And this project, really, as you are listing the countries that you've penetrated into and the markets you've penetrated into, is somewhat reflective of the vision of that. And I know that SADC has its goals too. And I'm very interested to hear from you, how do you tie the realities of what our continent needs and you identifying an opportunity of how you can contribute to that?
Yeah, it's been difficult, I must say, especially because we have different agreements with different countries.
Exactly. And the different regulations you kind of have to work through.
Also. Right. What goes on in Namibia is not the same as what is taking place in the DRC.
Absolutely.
And late last year, we were, moving swiftly into the DRC. But now the political trends,
conflict also,
really
escalated.
Affected us, And then we had to go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what do we do? Because these things will now and then affect us. And then what we did with Namibia, Lesotho, and Swaziland is that we then have partners that side. It's not gonna be a South African company. It's going to be a South African company partnering with a company within that country, which we see it working out better because the regulations and all these trends that are affecting businesses don't really affect us because we have people who belong within that country who can run with the laws and the bylaws and everything that has to do with that particular country. And then that's what we thought of doing. Like the one in Namibia, I have a lady who I've had a relationship with her for many years. She was voted the Businesswoman of the Year 2020. 2022, 23, 24.
Take them all.
And we decided with her that it must be a company that she registered that site. And I went in with her as a partner.
Right.
So that we can expand the company because NXI is a new baby on the block.
Course,
it's proudly South African and we just want this product to be well known and it must be the pride of Africa.
I love that.
And we're thinking of doing those kind of relationships and it's working out in Namibia, Swaziland and Lesotho in that regard. And then other countries, it will depend what are the trends there, and we'll actually be guided by that.
Of course.
But it's pushing all the time, and having to be in that space that is male dominated.
Absolutely.
It's still not easy because you find even the female who are doing well in the space, they are so weird at times. I mean, like
Not
yesterday.
them being weird.
My tribe at times. I mean, like yesterday, I received a call from this woman. She says to me, "Can you deliver so many devices at this particular place?"
Right.
And I don't know her from a bar of soap. I've never engaged with this woman. She says, "Okay, I've been referred by this company and we need devices like in yesterday." I'm like, it doesn't work like that. We have to sit around the table.
There's a process
There's a
behind
process
it.
that we have to go through, But then it was weird that it was a woman who was acting like that. I've never had to deal with a male counterpart acting like that towards a woman,
Right.
And that's when you see also that at times we think that male counterparts are the difficult ones, but you find your own species, then you still go through difficulties. But it's all part of the game in business, and you see how best you can work around it. And by the time I finished with her, we were laughing.
Right. Which is a little bad mood, but it's okay, we're good now.
And she was like, "Okay, I look forward dealing with you,
Right.
And it's just being experienced and being exposed and also being skillful in a sense that for some of us have been blessed to be skilled by the likes of Gibbs, where one was fully sponsored by, I don't know if I should say who sponsored us, by JP Morgan. And for that, we will forever be grateful, because some of these skills we learned from that entrepreneurship program, which is helping us on a daily basis to navigate in business. And I hope one day one will come back at Gibbs and, make a difference, because if we're talking about empowerment at the same time, I'm very big in empowerment. I want to empower other women, younger or older than me. But for me, it's purely women. I want to see change within women because they are the biggest contributors in families. And if you empower a woman, you know that
the whole society is taken care of.
You know.
Let's get into that women empowerment conversation. I know for a fact that the current narrative of financial empowerment is let's have financial literacy and thereafter you are going to be able to be financially independent and you're going to be empowered. But if you've got financial literacy and you earn SASSA, a social grant, it does not matter how much you know about debt and how much you know about taxes, etc., because you live well below the poverty line, right? And now I'm thinking of some of the women who are either taking care of family members who live off that, or women themselves who live off government grants, because things are just so difficult in our country at the moment, where we can't go to them and just say, I'm just going to teach you about taxes, I'm going to teach you about the markets, etc., etc. I'm interested to hear from you, what would be the first step for them towards financial independence that we know they would have to step on a shoulder of some sort? Because clearly you are there, you are financially independent. But I'd like to know at a basic level for someone, and we know in this country women don't earn a lot of money, for someone who wants that for themselves and knows that the bare minimum they have at the moment is not enough for that full financial independence. What's that step-by-step process to get to that point?
It's getting started. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't believe that you need to have money to start any business.
Wow.
I don't believe in that.
Sure.
I believe in ways of
fundraising.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Amazing.
And also network. You know, are you at the right space at the right time?
Wow.
I mean, the government is trying where it's trying. Companies are trying where they are trying. One needs to be exposed.
Right.
There's information these days everywhere, even on the likes of TikTok, if I have to say that. There's like information everywhere.
Well, I mean, some of it is cryptocurrency and forex trading scammers.
Yes, but
are they not part of the tech industry? Let's not get into that.
You know, they are. And
right,
it's just to be deliberate. If you need to be somewhere in life, you just need to switch off and seek information. And it's out there, especially in the tech space. You can find a lot of information that can leverage you to get to where you want to go. You know?
Right.
And with the programs that are out there that government is sponsoring, that can also help a woman or youth to get to where they want, you know. There's big companies, I mean, that I will not mention names, that are offering courses online, and they will offer them for free.
Right.
And all you need to do is to study, then you'll only pay when you have to write an exam.
Get started.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing.
Yes, get started.
It's so interesting you say that, because I think throughout this whole series, in some way or another, everyone takes it back to it's with you.
Yeah.
That first step
Absolutely.
is with you. That first step is not waiting for someone to come and take you out. That can eventually come out and eventually happen, but there's this thing that I'm picking up throughout this whole series about the importance of the individual listening to themselves and just taking that first step.
Yeah.
And while we're on that, with the first steps in tech specifically, perhaps you can give us a little bit of insight with the role that COVID-19 played in the tech space, particularly in the empowerment of women? Because as you mentioned, these free courses that came out, when the lockdowns happened, they were a free for all, anyone could do them, and they were just there. But we then also know that shortly after that, your big companies, which we won't mention any particular names, were suddenly laying off people by the thousands and tens of thousands, right? And I feel like that put a little bit of, I don't know about this tech space thing, because it was prior to COVID, around COVID specifically, it was the peak. It was what was needed. It was the skill that was desired, so important. And now we're sitting with women computer scientists who are so stressed out about their degrees when they're done studying that there's probably nothing that is going to be out there for me. What words of motivation do you have as someone who's in the tech space for women to tell them it's still good? There's still plenty to do over here.
Yeah, it's still good, I must say, and there's a lot that we can contribute towards tech, especially also in the empowerment space.
Right, right.
And I think also for me it's because I'm big in empowering others. And you can start something from nothing. Like you say, COVID taught us that we can do a whole lot of things.
Absolutely.
Using tech without being face to face. And there's a lot of businesses that were born out of that, and some people are making it. It's just for one to find a niche. Right. What works for you, what you're passionate with, and what's needed out there. When I was at GIPS for this program, which was in 2023, we were given an opportunity to start our own businesses. You know how business schools works, and our business model was financial tech.
So what I love about what you said with empowerment and how your empowerment is so unique in this is that it's not an empowerment that is the traditional version of how we see it, right? Not that there's anything wrong with the other traditional ones. They're very important and we do need them in society and supporting women and women's groups and people having that type of space. But the empowerment you're touching on is like a twofold one. There's a skills equipment that's going on there. But not just any skills equipment. It's a future-based skills equipment.
Absolutely.
And I would love nothing more than to know, one, the current programs you guys are running for such empowerment, skills equipment for the youth that you are targeting, and also obviously women in this country, and how people can even get in touch with you in order to tap into those skills. Perhaps that's that person's first step that you mentioned.
Yeah, I will say, God willing, we will achieve what we are about to achieve. It's to have a manufacturing plant in KZN, which we have already identified. And the reason why I say God willing is because obviously we need we need money.
You don't
Sometimes
have to get into
you do.
That.
Sometimes you need some money to get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely.
And the plant has been identified. Skillful people who are going to be based in that plant have also been identified. And my biggest passion now in the tech space, it's the cloud.
Wow.
I love data.
Wow.
I just love data. For me, it does something. And if you can, run a cloud that can accommodate data for an entire country, Like for me,
we won't get into the ethics of that, and I think we can just pause it right there. I love how you bring up such a controversial thing, intake and AI, right at the end, and we can't explore it, but it's okay. Mo, thank you so very much for joining us today. Thank you for being a powerhouse in the tech space, and I cannot see how you dominate this continent, because I see you not just dominating this continent, but the world, period, through your tech inspirations, and hopefully that cloud doesn't come anytime soon. I'm worried about the ethics, but we'll talk off camera. And to our viewers and listeners, thank you so very much for joining us for this other amazing episode. Be sure to be tuned in for our next one. All information related to the fantastic work that the company that Mo works for and owns will be linked in the description here on YouTube, and also in the description on Spotify for those who are listening. And lastly, Mo, again, thank you.
Thank you for the invite.